It's 5:32, so we're going to go ahead and get started. We see that we still have some people coming in, and hopefully we will have more to come in. Am I speaking loud enough that you can hear me? Let me just take this opportunity to welcome you to what we have labeled as Liberty District Vision Meeting. I want to pause before I go any further and recognize a couple of our elected officials, city councilors. We've got our two at-large city councilors present. Councilwoman Judy Thomas, you'll wave your hand, and Councilor Skip Henderson. And I see our tax commissioner just walked in. I want to thank our elected officials for being present. We've got some key staff people here. We've got both our deputy city managers, Pam Hodge and Lisa Goodwin, and we've got our director of planning, Rick Jones, and I see Will Johnson here. He's over zoning here in Columbus. And Laura Johnson. Laura handles our real estate. So thank you guys for being here. And I see Councilor Bruce Huff that has just walked in. Thank you for being here. Let me just say that we've been planning for the Liberty District since the mid-1990s, or even maybe prior to that. In fact, the last master plan that we did of the Liberty District was around 1999, 2000, somewhere early 2000. The city did a lot of work. That master plan did not get off the ground the way we would have liked for it to get off the ground. And things have not moved at the pace in the Liberty District that we would like to see them move along. I think we've had some opportunities that were missed opportunities, but we won't dwell on that. I'd like to talk about how we move it all forward today. And when I talk about how we move it forward, and Rick Jones has a PowerPoint presentation that he's going to share with you, and then we're going to open it up for questions because we'd like to hear from you, and that's why we're here today. But when I talk about moving it forward, do we want to go back to the late 90s, early 2000s master plan and let that be our guide? Or based on the way things have progressed in Uptown, Midtown, and in the Liberty District, though slowly, should we be tweaking that master plan from the 1990s, 2000s, or should we proceed forward with a new master plan based on more recent developments? That's the question. As I talked to staff about this meeting. I shared with them my vision and of the Liberty District, and I'm going to share with you the thoughts I shared with them. And so my vision is my thoughts and opinions, and I want to hear your thoughts and opinion. We have CCGTV recording this so that we can make sure that we don't miss anything. We can capture those. We've got Tiasha Johnson here taking notes. so that we don't miss anything. And so, you know, this is about the Liberty District, and it says, what's your vision? I'll share mine, and when Rick does a PowerPoint presentation, we'd like to hear your vision. And so my thought, as I share it with staff, is that we will listen to every vision that we hear this evening. We've got some comment cards on the back, in the back, that we would like for those who are shy and don't want to talk. You can fill that out or take it with you, complete it, and then drop it back to us. And if you don't want to share your vision here tonight, you can email us your thoughts, your vision. And because we want to capture your thoughts, your vision, that we can better know how to move forward with developing and redeveloping the Liberty District. So here's what I talk to staff about when I talk to them about my vision. It's my vision. I just ask you to respect my vision, because when you share yours, I'm going to respect yours. And so when I talk to them, I said, you know, my vision of the Liberty District would be a kind of a replica of what I see in Uptown. It would be mixed-use development. There would be entertainment, multifamily, nice restaurants, and I use this, and this person wouldn't want me to say this, but what I use with them, I'm going to say it anyway. I said, you know, a restaurant like The Loft, or restaurants similar to Loft, where there would be, where you could go and sit down for dinner, where there's a music piece in the establishment. Could be a blues restaurant. And I know we have churches like we do in Uptown. We've got churches. And so where there are churches, you got to have 80% food, I believe, and you can have alcohol sales in those types of restaurant facilities. But, you know, I told them I want to be able to be in Uptown or be in the Liberty District and park my car, let's say in the Liberty District, and walk over to Uptown to a restaurant, or vice versa. I want to be in Uptown and say, you know, our car's parked, let's walk over to Liberty District for dinner. Let's walk over to the Liberty District for entertainment. I've said to them that you've got a concert series downtown where we block off Broadway between 9th and 10th. I've said to staff, you know, in my vision, I can see 8th, in front of the Liberty Theater, between 8th and 9th, that street blocked off for a similar type concert series. It may or may not be on the same day as the concert down in Uptown that's on Friday night, where we block off the street. I mentioned to them we had a concert at the River Center on the Lawn one night, and we had a concert on Broad between 9th and 10th the same night. And I was able to walk from the River Center concert over to Broadway and come back. And my wife, State Representative Carolyn Hughley, just walked in, and thank you for being here. And then when we go down to the concert series, we go and eat. That's what we do. I can see that in the Liberty District. There's no reason in my mind, in my vision, we should not be able to do the same thing in the Liberty District that I'm able to do in Uptown. And so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it, but I just kind of wanted to give you a taste of what I think. Now that's mine. You may or may not like it, and you know, that's fine. I want to hear yours. I may not like yours. And so we've got an opportunity to come together. You know, I think there's been lack of progress in the Liberty District because we've not been able to come together. I told staff, I didn't come here tonight, I would not be coming here tonight looking for a fight. Anybody came to fight, I'm not here to fight with you. You need to take that fight and find somebody else to fight with. I don't have an agenda. There is no elected person pushing me, telling me. I haven't talked to any elected official about the vision. Not one. Not a single council member, not the mayor. I haven't talked to anybody. I don't have an agenda. And so I come tonight with the hope that, you know, we've had some fights before. I'm not, you know, I just want to tell you. And the last fight that we had was when the Housing Authority was going to do the BTW redevelopment. And when that fight occurred, you know, my thought was, I don't want to fight. And we had City Village on the horizon. And my thought, let's just go work on City Village. That was my thought. And we've done that. And we've made great progress in City Village. There's been a cool down period, I hope. And so my goal in coming here and convening this group would be that we can come together, respect the ideas one to the other, that we will eventually establish a Liberty District committee similar to the City Village Committee, and that we will be able to respect each other, and we will be able to advance the Liberty District forward. That's my desire, that's my goal with no agenda. You know, I've talked to them, I've watched, since we worked on the master plan for the Liberty District, I've watched Midtown be redeveloped, thrive, awesome. All that time that we sat idle. I was here when we did the master plan for the Liberty District. And I've watched Midtown create a board, establish a board, since that master plan was developed here in the Liberty District. And look at Midtown today. And so I'm looking at Uptown and how it has redeveloped and thrived. I'm looking at Midtown and what they've done. I'm looking at the Panhandle and what they've been able to do. And I'm looking at the north side of town and what they've been able to do. And we're working on City Village. It's time for us in the Liberty District to come together, no fights, and make it happen. That's why I'm here tonight. And so that's my vision.
The city manager, let me just say something. That wasn't a fight. All we asked is that you appoint a champion. If we had appointed a champion, we couldn't have moved on. But don't think that's a fight, because nobody's going to fight here to fight.
Look, I've come to express my opinion.
Yeah, I know,
You
but
got
it
an
wasn't a
opinion?
fight. It was to appoint a champion. That's all we asked.
That's your opinion.
No, it's in the plan. And
Okay.
well, what you said is exactly what the plan intended. But it wasn't a fight. Nobody wants to fight. All we ask is that a champion be
You
appointed.
say, I didn't come here for this.
No, but that's what it is. But what you're saying is not what happened. No one was fighting. No one really was fighting. All we
Okay.
asked is that you appoint a champion.
Thank you,
But that's it.
thank you. And you're right, we need a champion.
That's it.
You know, we needed a champion for Uptown, and we got that. We needed a champion for Midtown, and we got that.
Right.
We needed a champion for City Village, and we got that. We need a champion, but we need to work together. I'm not looking for a fight,
That's the role of the champion,
okay?
was to bring everybody
Okay.
together.
So, Rick Jones, our planning director, is going to do a PowerPoint when he's done, we want to hear from you. And we want to hear about your vision. And ultimately, you know, we're going to be able to create or establish a committee that will work together to move the Liberty District forward. And we all agree that we need to work together?
Yes, yes,
All right.
exactly.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good.
Rick Jones.
Thank you, City Manager. Good evening to all of you. Thank you for coming out. It's a great crowd to have a conversation about this. I'm going to stand behind this podium, not because I don't want you to see me, but I was told to stand here. That's where Mike told me, so he can pick me up on the microphone. We want to present to you a very, very quick PowerPoint in terms of where we are right now, what we have achieved over the last several years and so forth, and where we really think we need to go. The idea really is the idea, though, it's come together, as Isaiah said to you, and let's formulate a coalition, a plan of some sort that we can actually implement and make it work in the community. You may have seen this quote if you have the This Place Matters book that the Historic Columbus put out earlier this year. You may have seen this quote in the section dealing with the Liberty District itself, and it's pretty much true. What I recall about the Liberty District growing up in Columbus, it was a thriving area. It was really to me, it was the heart of the black community, and everything it said and did from that standpoint. And I think that's the ultimate goal here tonight, is how do we get back to that point of making this a thriving community, making it an important community that can provide not only residential, but some job opportunities, some retail, whatever you can dream. I think we can achieve together to make that happen. So what are we trying to accomplish tonight? This is what we're looking at in terms of our purpose. We want to give you a quick overview of the 2005 Liberty District Master Plan itself. We want to try to come to some kind of direction about how we're going to establish a common vision for us all to look at in terms of where we want to go with this direction of dealing with the Liberty District itself. And then we want to come up with that plan of action, how we're going to implement this plan. Now, that's a lot of work. Please understand me. And we're not going to achieve all that tonight. But we want to get started in that right direction, and we need your help to tell us in what direction we want to go with this and how we should go about trying to do it itself. For the longest time, in the district itself, these have been the goals we've been working toward, either through our comprehensive planning process or even through the Liberty District plan from that standpoint. This idea of restoring and maintaining the viability of the area. We know the Liberty District, the Liberty Theater itself is still there, and it's still functioning, it's still operational. That's a great thing. How do we build upon that, though, is the next question. We want to make sure we provide that sense of identity and pride and confidence back in this area itself in dealing with that. We want to try to achieve a safe and livable and desirable neighborhood. This one time was a desirable neighborhood to live in. And the objective is now is how do we get back to that again to make it really a functional area from that standpoint. We want to be able to provide incentives for reinvestment and rehabilitation in the community itself in terms of how we go about that. We want to rezone designated areas for appropriate planned uses. And when I say that, we want to make sure that the uses really do work together in terms of what we're trying to achieve here. If we're going to provide for residential, we're going to need some type of retail to go with it. And generally, when you do retail and residential, you're going to have some place for folks to work. And that may mean looking at some of the industrial areas we have surrounding around the Liberty area itself. And those are things we have to deal with. And then last but not least, we want to encourage private market reinvestment and adaptive reuse. These are goals we've been working on for the last several years, and I don't think they're going to change in terms of anybody's mind or in terms of impressions here. So I think these are what we're trying to achieve overall for the Liberty District. And the master plan itself, like I said, was done back in 2005. The plan itself called for residential, institutional, retail, and office, and also called for entertainment uses as well to be back down in this area itself. Under the existing land use plan, that you see now for the Liberty District plan, it calls for existing public and private institutions would remain in the area itself, so that would not change. Some of those things we could not change. For instance, Muskogee County Jail, it's just not going to go away. So we got to work our way around that. The Liberty itself, we need to protect and preserve that as we have in the past and continue to do so from that standpoint. The Liberty Center under the last master plan calls for a living, working entertainment 2 blocks around the Liberty District itself, from that standpoint. There was a mixed-use commercial core of the district centered on the intersection of 6th Avenue and 8th. You still would provide daily retail and service needs for that area. Residential densities under the plan call for the highest and adjacent to the Liberty Center and at the commercial core facing 5th and 6th Avenue from that vantage point itself. And then commercial uses to meet community retail and service needs, providing housing above. They're located along Victory Drive, Veterans Parkway, and the latter serving as seen to bind together the Liberty and Columbus Historic Districts. You have a copy of this. I hope you got a copy of the handout tonight. If you don't, we'll make sure we get you one. You have something of the map itself. And looking at this here is area dealing with Liberty itself. It was really pretty much calling for some residential around it, a little bit of commercial here. There was commercial. This is this is Veterans Parkway here at that point with commercial on that. We're seeing some residential at that point. At that time, it was more mixed use or more multifamily use than anything else. Now this is where the housing authority, this is where the housing authority is putting, building their Columbus Commons areas going in at that point. And then the plan also called for some commercial uses along the front here, along Victory Drive, to make that happen. So you can see there's a lot of mixed-use activity going on here. There was even right here some single-family proposed under the plan to happen along this area here. So again, the plan itself really does call for a lot of mixed uses to happen in this area, and it's just, again, worth consideration from that standpoint. We want to talk about city-owned properties. Laura, do you want to talk about that just for a second?
So basically, this is the map, and everything highlighted in blue is what the city currently owns. And so the green line actually outlines the Liberty District. So as you can see, the city owns various properties throughout the Liberty District already. Some of those, though, are government buildings, such as this building we're in here, and public safety building and the jail. And then we do have like the rest of the area down here. But all of these properties here that are around the Liberty District are vacant parcels. The city purchased those properties back in the 90s. I think as part of the redevelopment effort, what was on the properties were actually they were demolished and structures over there, and so what's left is the vacant parcels. So this is the main focus of the areas of the city that are the properties that the city currently owns that we could use for future redevelopments once the plan is finalized. But all of these properties are owned by the city right now.
Okay. So we do own some properties down in this area already. Not as great as to some extent, some might actually think. But again, as Laura's pointed out to you, this dark blue on this area up here, these are primarily the buildings that are already occupied now by government, by us itself in terms of that standpoint. And there are some other properties we have purchased over the years to make this happen. So we do own some property down here. We also want to talk about what reinvestments we've had down here in terms of revitalization reinvestments. Pam, would you like to come and talk about what's going on with that?
Good evening. So if you look at the map, and there's larger maps that for those of you who need glasses to see, might be easier to get a larger map than what's included in the PowerPoint presentation. But you can see from this, the Family Dollar, the renovation of the Ma Rainey House, the Military Library, Columbus Commons that's being done by the Housing Authority, the 6th Avenue flood abatement and streetscape project, 4th Street church daycare, the new gas station that's going in, and then Rusting Gardens. So those are some of the revitalization efforts that have been done in the Liberty District in the last probably 10, 15 years. And just to kind of go through that, the 6th Avenue flood abatement project was a $37 million project that went from 13th Street to Victory Drive. And you can see how huge this project was that's underneath 6th Avenue, which included the streetscapes and the sidewalks on 6th Avenue. Another project was the Mulroney House at $300,000, and this was the renovation of the historic home. The Resting Gardens Cemetery was $125,000, and that was done on 6th Avenue as well. We spoke of the Columbus Commons, a $20 million project that's going on in the replacement of the BTW project. So there's been over $66 million invested in this area since the 2000s. This is just an accounting of the 1999 SPLOST. There was $5 million allocated for the Liberty District specifically, and I've broken out how that money has been spent to date. There's still $950,000 of that original 1999 SPLOST that's available for the redevelopment of the Liberty District, as well as the 6th Avenue flood abatement project of $37 million. The grant that we received of $149,000 for the Ma Rainey House. Also the Veterans Parkway Streetscapes, which includes a portion of the Liberty District. The $20 million being spent on the Columbus Commons. And then there's also the TAD that was established in the Liberty District for this year. And we've talked briefly about the missed opportunity, the Housing Authority's proposal relocated to the existing BTW site instead of where it was originally intended up in the Liberty District. And we're at the point now where we're talking about establishing a committee to really focus on the Liberty District and where we go from here. So at this time, we really want to hear your thoughts, your vision, your questions, and we'll open the floor up to anyone who wants to make a comment.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
When the city manager laid out about walking from Uptown, Liberty District to Uptown.
Yes, ma'am.
That is originally how it was. The area was basically shaped like a 4-leaf clover.
Mm-hmm.
You had the Springer, the Uptown, the Liberty District, but they also had multicultural things from all aspects. Asian Pacific was in one clover, Afrocentric was in the Liberty, the European and the Indian was pretty much towards the Springer, and it had retail shops from each culture in front of the Liberty. The Liberty was the anchor. That is what was in the original plan. The only thing missing was the parking garage. There was to be no parking downtown. It was supposed to be a parking garage that you drive your car into. You could either rent a bike, rent a golf cart, bring your own bike, or just walk, or ride one of the little club car trolleys that was supposed to go through there. But it wasn't supposed to be in the parking anywhere downtown and in the Liberty District. So what he said is actually what was supposed to happen. Even though that plan may be outdated, because it could be, the only thing on that plan that's not outdated is appointing a champion. Because if we go ahead on and do that, that champion can work daily. And with Mr. Jones here to bring everything together. And if we need more money, we just need more money. Because at that time, a sales tax would have been more amenable and easier to get past than it would be right now. Because I even told you, if you need a sales tax, I help you get it. That was 2003. I don't know if we can get that now, but we do need to do something down there. And the primary person is going to have to be a champion. And every one of the areas that you discussed has a champion. That one person should be there to make sure that this thing goes through. Ann is in Midtown, Babs is up in Liberty City, in Bibb City. Just get us a champion appointed, and they can work with you and Mr. Jones and get all this straightened out. Because is something going on. I just don't wanna see them putting plastic buildings down there, because everything in the Liberty District, all the churches, the jail, even the Family Dollar is red brick. I just don't wanna see aluminum siding, nothing put down, that's all.
And see, I agree with that.
And also,
And
that's
I've told,
all I want you to do is report
and I've said to staff, I don't wanna see a red house, a yellow house, a blue house in the
That's-
Liberty District.
that's good.
We want quality.
That's it, so I'm through, that's all I got to say, just put change.
And so, you know, and I think, you know, we want to hear your vision this evening. And we want to capture that information. And then our next step really is to identify people, and we haven't determined the process of how we're going to identify people to serve on a committee. And then we hope that that committee, once established, will be able to identify a chairperson for that committee. Now.
But can I tell you
Yeah,
what you
yeah.
said? Years ago, you said that you would be sure to get the business owners and the different members from the churches to help formulate that committee. Now, that's what you said, I find it for you, it's in my
I want you to
book.
find it. But anyway, you know, once we get the committee set and a chairperson, then I think, you know, we can start to put more structure to it.
That's right.
And Pam mentioned that we've got $950,000 left from the Liberty District funding through the Special Purpose Local Option Sales Tax, which was for infrastructure and property acquisition. And we demonstrated to you how we've spent that money. But, you know, when we started in City Village, for example, we were able to identify funding through other sources, some private and so forth, to hire a consultant. I think that cost about $300,000. And so eventually we will get to the point that we need a consultant, someone to help us pull together a master plan. And Liberty District funding could be used for that, you know, of course with the approval of council. And so we do have a funding source to help us get off the ground, to either revamp the existing master plan or do a new master plan, if we think that that is where we need to go with it. And so with that, it's your turn to talk, ask questions. We'd like to hear your vision, and be recording your vision so that we don't miss anything that you say. Yes, ma'am.
We are having in Liberty District for 47 years. And the way y'all talking, y'all leaving us out. You want to put businesses, you don't want to put no one living in there. So where I'm supposed to sit in this plan?
Well, no, now that's not what we said. We said multifamily, which would be apartment units and other, I mean, you got the housing authority down in the Liberty District with housing components. So it would be mixed use and, you know, like Uptown, we got people living, working, playing, and doing everything in Uptown. We can do that same thing in Liberty District. You can live there, you can work there, and you can be entertained there. You can dine, and that's why I was explaining my vision. So if you don't, you can tell us what you would like to see, and that's why we,
I like to feel like it's being for the last 65 years.
okay. Then we've got
Starting
you.
with 6th Avenue, with the restaurant, the store, the club, the boat, pool hall. Why can't we use some of that? Why do it have to change?
Well, and so we're capturing what you say, and that's your vision, I share mine, and we want to hear from others. And then we're going to go back and have staff to pull together what we heard here. And then when we have another meeting, we're going to tell you what we think we heard. And then we're going to ask you to verify that that's what we actually heard. And I think then we've got something to give the committee, once we establish that committee, something that they will have heard from the people, they can at least start to think about. So I appreciate your comments. Okay, others. Ms. Jones.
I heard you say that this plan was done in 1999 and nothing has happened. So how long are we anticipating now if we have to start all over again or do a new plan and you got to get all these committees and all these people together. What is the timeline or time frame now if we're gonna start again or tweak the plan, or how long is it gonna be before you see revitalization and something to happen?
Well,
in
and
Liberty
that
District?
was why I said we've got to work together.
Okay.
Because if, you know, if we're all over the place and not working together, we're not gonna make the kind of progress that we need to make.
So we talking
Now, I
another
can tell
20
you,
years from now,
let me
or?
just say, I can't put a time on it. I can show you that, and this dates me, when I came back to Columbus in October of '84, in '85 and '86, when I went through Uptown at 10th and First, at 10th and First, for example, and other places in Uptown, we put the traffic signal on flash. It was a ghost town. You can go down there and find a parking space anywhere. And so, because they were able to come together and work together and had a vision, had a champion, look at it today. Now, it took some time, but they got there. And so what we got to do for the Liberty District may not necessarily be for us, but it's for our children and grandchildren. Midtown, I mentioned, when you had the old Sears out there, it was abandoned and grass growing through the asphalt, and we would sit down here in this very room, we talked about the master plan. I was in this room. And since that time, I mentioned how they identified an executive director, pulled together a committee, and had the right people on the committee, and look at Midtown today.
I was on the board when
Yeah, and so,
Mayor
and
Teresa
then I've
was
watched the
champion,
panhandle
yeah.
evolve. So, I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know
executive
what
director.
time, but the important thing today and months to come is that we set the groundwork and we have a direction, a vision, that we start to make it happen. And if we do it right, you know, we've got momentum all around us. You got momentum uptown, you got momentum with the Housing Authority project. And you got commercial properties sitting on the front at Veterans and Victor Drive and at Victory and Veterans, you know, that is gonna be commercial property. Lynn, I think. I don't know what's gonna happen on that commercial property, but with what the Housing Authority has developed there, if something huge happens on that commercial property that fronts the Civic Center, and it very well could be something big, there's a domino effect to this stuff. And so, you know, it may not take as long as we think, but the thing that we gotta do is, like Nadine said, you know, we can't let you come put a 10, you know, building. I mean, if we want quality and we want it to be a replica of a Midtown quality and an Uptown quality, we gotta control what we allow happen. And so with that, Mr. Chester.
Yes, sir. So I hear the vision of commercial use and mixed use.
Land.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah.
And throughout the presentation, some different variations of that. But on a cursory level, I know that commercial businesses moving in, there has to be a population density.
That's right.
There has to be a certain type of clientele, whatever type of business
Yeah.
you're looking to do. And looking at, on a very cursory level, full disclaimer, I don't live in the Liberty District, I own no property there, I'm just a concerned citizen of that. We, at least I realize that the population that's currently in the Liberty District, as far as housing and available housing, may not necessarily be that
I agree.
population.
Yes.
And so and this is not pushback at all, but I'm not for sure where the current property owners on this whole deal, as those who own those rundown apartments and,
Yeah.
yes,
I hear you.
so where are they in this
Well,
conversation?
one of the things that we've done with some of the $5 million is acquire property, dilapidated properties, depressed properties, and demo. And when the city, one reason we buy property is we want to control the development.
Yes, sir.
You know, we are, you know, if the right opportunity comes along, we want to be able to place quality stuff around. Now, here's what I said to your question. What I said to staff when I talked about my vision, and when I use these examples, I don't mean necessarily these people. I just say this to them to give them some idea. I told them that I want, in terms of multifamily at Eagle and Phoenix, or the new W.C. Bradley, what they're doing, type of development, multi-family, the
Yes, sir.
quality that you were talking about.
Yes, sir.
Those are the examples I gave you guys. And so I hear you, and we're thinking, you know, we're not people like the young lady back here that talked about wanting to live. You know, it needs to be a place where we can have people, you know, you don't have to be a $1 million property in Eagle and Phoenix or wherever they're gonna, in the W.C. Bradley, but you can, you know, you can still live in the Liberty. So we're not trying to push anybody out. We want to be all inclusive, because that's the flavor, you know. And, you know, as I talked to my wife about Liberty District, you know, I was sharing with her, because she's not from here, you know, I grew up here. And so I drove down 8th Street. I can tell you everything that was down there. I know everything that was down there, because I can't tell you what I told her, but, you know, you know.
We want to hear your vision of the past.
No, but there were some things going on there that we don't want there.
Yes, sir.
Now was my point to,
Yes,
when I
do
talked to
not.
her, yes.
But I'm just gonna say this, it's discretionary income. The only reason why Midtown is flourishing now is because the school board building is there with employees. You out there with about.
One thing leads to another.
Yeah, but if you put something down there that will attract people with
Exactly.
discretionary income.
Exactly.
That's what's gonna make your tab flourish. So
Exactly.
that's what.
And that's
you
why
gotta
we
know.
wanted to do the TAD, and I saw that, and I called Robert Anderson. I saw him here somewhere. He left. But when I saw the TAD, you know, Uptown says, I want to do a TAD. And I mean, I'm just gonna tell you, I said to Uptown, I said, you know, if you're gonna do a TAD, you need to do 2 TADs. You need to include the Liberty District. I said, so if you're gonna bring the guy down here, let's get as much as we can out of it. I mean, that's what, and so I knew that if they, and then after they get the TAD and included the Liberty District, then Midtown get a TAD, because they know it's a good tool. And so we've got that tool in hand. So I think with the $37 million flood abatement, we've been prepping all along the area for something fantastic.
And this will be my last. Now, I want to be sure, and this is my vision, of ensuring that we are intentional,
Yeah.
that we are intentional about what we want to see in the Liberty. And this is not to say that the Liberty will just be for blacks or be for whites, but we want to be intentional that if we.
I'm glad to hear you say that.
Yes, sir, that if we don't, the Liberty, if we want to have an African-American flavor,
We do.
we
Oh,
have to be,
absolutely.
we have to be
You gotta
intentional.
have that.
We want it to be intentional,
You-
that we don't want, or whoever the champions are, aren't trying to make the Liberty Uptown #2.
Yeah.
That if we want it to be for all,
Yeah.
but intentionally black flavor.
Yeah. I got you.
Okay, so I just want,
All of
whoever the champions
things that
are,
you're
that's what it
saying,
gotta be.
the things that you're saying, Reverend Chester, are things that I've said to staff. You know, when we do this committee, we just can't have all blacks on the committee. You know, we're gonna be intentional.
By being black.
And I've said, if we are not gonna just go out and find however many people we're gonna have and they're all black folk, we are going to be inclusive.
I have a
And
recommendation on
it's gonna be intentional, as you said. So, I mean, now that's just me talking, because, you know, we gotta hear from you. I'm just telling you to get you going, what I've seen and shared with staff.
But if you say what you saw in the Liberty District, you saw Germans down there, you saw Thais down there, you saw black people down there. Those women were married to black women. First time I ate some shrimp fried rice, a Korean woman cooked it and she served it in a shoebox fillet. So I would like to see that mix come back, you know, with your Oriental restaurants, German restaurants, all right there in the Liberty District, because that's what we went there to eat, Spanish rice down there. You know, so we can still have the diversity, even though it was a predominantly black business.
Yeah, but we can do all that you're talking about, but we cannot lose
We can't use that.
the heritage, the flavor, and all that, you know,
And lose the
that was there. I mean, we gotta preserve that. And Councilwoman Mimi Woodson came in, thank you. She sent a text, said she was leaving work, ran late, but thanks for coming. I wanna hear your vision. Yes, sir.
I have a question. You said that doing the splash, well, something you mentioned a few minutes ago about the tax allocation.
Yes.
Explain that to me, I don't understand.
Well, just, and I'm not gonna explain it in detail. I'm gonna just tell you, the tax allocation district is designed that you draw lands and create boundaries. And you say this is gonna be what we call a tax allocation district. And when that goes through a process and it has been approved by city council, and it has, then once it's approved, then you look at the digest for the boundary that we just drew. And let's say, when I say digest, that's the taxes we collect within those boundaries. And I'm gonna make up numbers here. And let's say that we're collecting in the boundaries of the Liberty District, $5 million a year in taxes. And so once you approve the TAD, we kind of freeze that $5 million. We're gonna continue to get that $5 million in taxes. But the growth in the digest can be used to improve infrastructure and really to help developers offset expenses that would have been carried by them, but because it's a TAD and we can do some infrastructure stuff, it can be carried using the growth in the digest. So we were collecting $5 million, and now all of a sudden, we're collecting, after the TAD, $8 million. Then you've got $3 million for the 20 years of the TAD or whatever that you can use for infrastructure improvement. The city will still get the $5 million, and the school district gets their 60% portion. But after the TAD, the period has been satisfied for that project, that TAD, then the city would then be getting $8 million, if that's the number. These are made up numbers. And it'd be 60-40, with school district 60, city 40. But we can talk to you more about it, but I don't want to take up too much time.
Okay, so I'm understanding right, it's a tool to draw investors in
Yes,
to that particular
absolutely.
boundary.
Yes.
Okay. To draw on what she was asking earlier,
Mhm.
a lot of us are homeowners. We've been in the Liberty District a long time, and I'm trying to see where that's going to benefit us as homeowners. I have an old house, and I want to know where some of this money is going to come in, where I can go and I can say, hey, I need some help fixing this old house, because on one hand, I've got to deal with the city and its zoning and all of this. On the other hand, I got to deal with the historic district. Because the historic district telling me I can't put this window in because it's one time. But the window that they want costs $500. I got 18
Well, the TAD is not going to help you improve your home. But
No,
here-
I'm not talking about the TAD itself. I'm talking about, what are we talking about?
Well, let me tell
Vision for
you,
the
let me tell you what it will do.
How it's going to help
If we can make the Liberty District, what we've used as an example, Uptown or Midtown, whatever property you own in the Liberty District, I don't know what the value of it is today, but it's gonna be huge when this happens. And I'll just use a number. If your property is worth $50,000 today, and all of this happens around you, I can imagine that your property would no longer be just 50,000 if you have a premium. And you'll have people in there trying to buy your property, because it's a place to be.
Thank God for
You know,
free.
so that's what the growth and development would do for your property. Yeah. Your vision. Yes, sir, Dr. Hood.
Question. I understand that last year, it's still flooding there.
Well, let me just say that you saw the $37 million project, and we put culverts in that you can drive a truck through. They're bigger than this room. And we spent $37 million. And when we spent that money, what we carefully told citizens, and we told the churches, maybe you weren't down at Hosey at that time, we said that it was going to minimize flooding, but it was not going to cure flooding 100%. And so when we have a 50-year rain where abundance of rain comes down in 15 minutes, I don't care where you are in Columbus, you're gonna have flooding. In Phoenix City, in Atlanta, I don't care where you are, it's gonna happen. And so yeah, there's still going to be a limited amount of flooding in the Liberty District. And we spent $37 million to do it, and we got the pictures and everything to show you what we did. And in fact, we streetscape from 13th down to Victory.
But you really better than you should. Even though you spent the money, you really big things for the help. There's structurally better, not anything else that could have been done, pump otherwise, that could have been done.
Absolutely. We had the best of the best engineers looking at this, and we were able to say this before the work was actually done and completed. We knew that there would still be minimal flooding, and we've worked with the churches and others in the area with their issues. And I know that Hosley Chapel, we worked with them. Reverend Jackson wasn't there at that time, but we did. Yes, sir. Your vision, because your vision is important to us, and we want to capture it. Okay? If you don't have any, we got cards back there. We want you to email us, and you can ask questions in addition to talking about your vision. Ms. Jones.
Yes, there is a vision that there are a group of ladies who would like to, an organization would like to see in the Liberty, and it's a cultural center. It would enhance the property with the Liberty Theater. We're planning to bring cultural activities to continue to improve and expand upon the Liberty Theater. We really want to ensure that the residents and the citizens that will be living in that area, as well as drive traffic down to that area, to provide such activities for young people, for people who are needing GED, and it would also enhance our military library. There's a proposal that we would like to see in the Liberty District. All of the activities don't have to be on Broad Street, that you can come, like you said, walk down, and there would be plays, there would be opportunities for music, there would be opportunities for you to take part in maybe perhaps movies. The center would be an opportunity to provide some different activities through the week, where we provide clothing, opportunities for tutoring, for high school students to get opportunities for high school advancement and placement. So we would like to see some of these type things for, since we are using the flavor, we say, of the African Americans. We know that sometimes our boys and girls are a little behind on activities or a little behind on some of their schoolwork, and this opportunity with this center would give us a chance to bring some well-educated people into the community. We have authors. We have a plethora of authors and people who have renowned artists like Montel Jordan has agreed to come and do some things for us. So there are some things that we would like to see in this center that would be in the heart of the Liberty District. It would be in conjunction with the Liberty Theater, and it would provide just, I think, an opportunity for advanced traffic in that area, and an opportunity for the citizens in that area, as well as the citizens in the city, to reap the benefits of those activities and things that we would do.
Okay. Dr. Hood.
One other thing that almost slipped my mind. But there's another thing that I've been thinking about, and it almost slipped my mind. That is to have a international city market in that area. The people, like, that would be diverse.
Yeah.
of
I like-
cultural
I like
taste.
that.
And many restaurants in the country, there are some models, by the way, I think I shared before, there's some models that have that in there where you can get nursery things for planting. In other words, it'll be a major attraction for
Yes.
the entire city to come to.
And again, I've said this. Now, there's no reason that those things that are happening in Uptown, Market Day, you can have farmers and people come, and see, I've said to them, I see it's 8th Street in front of the Liberty Theater, 8th Street, 8th Avenue, I'm sorry, between 9th Street and 8th Street. I see that as streetscape just like Broadway. That's what I see. And I told them, I see a guy standing on the corner, like when I go down Broad, playing the guitar and just music. Yeah, I see that. And we can make that happen in the Liberty District. And so, you know, we just gotta work. Others. Reverend Jesse.
Just heard the 2003 master plan. I thought that was the greatest project that we could do in our community in the last 40 years. Are we still sort of staying along that line?
Well, and part of this meeting was to just hear from you on your vision, and then, you know, and then your ideas about whether we should stay with that plan or start with a new master plan based on changes that we are seeing in this area. And so, I mean, so that's a question, and we're going to get to an answer on that question at some point in the near future, as to whether we should just tweak the old master plan or start from scratch and hear, because I mean, you're dealing with different people now and different ideas, and whether we should have a new master plan. So we'll figure that out. Is that okay, Reverend Jesse? Okay, well, good. Yeah, and that's what we want you to do.
Something similar, definitely something
Yeah,
similar.
just because it's new wouldn't mean that it wouldn't be similar, but, you know, so, but I mean, the people are going to decide, not me. You know, so, I mean, we're gonna get to that point. Okay? Yes, ma'am.
Okay, sounds like that the master plan is the same vision as what I'm hearing everyone talk about, and that's, we might need to tweak it a little bit. So I would say that the next step would be to get the champion and then go with the champion.
Yeah, and, you know, and we gotta figure out this champion thing, because see, when Uptown started with a champion, they hired someone. When Midtown started with a champion, it started with a volunteer who gave up their executive position and pay, and they came and volunteered, and then they hired and now put someone, and so they paid a champion. When we did the Columbus South thing, we went through a process of 501c3 and identified a person for some time. I think they got some kind of pay. You all remember Columbus South? You remember?
Yeah.
And it didn't. It did not last.
But didn't you send
There-
CDBG money to Uptown though with Richard Bishop? Did he get $100,000
Well,
when he first got started?
initially, when they started out with 100,000, and then it's dwindled down, and now it's at 0. But yes, back in the day when they started the Uptown, it started 100,000. With Midtown, they got 0.
No, I know that. I know.
So-
But now I'm gonna just say this. No, I promise I'm straight shit. When you
You're not
got
gonna
the
be
99
quiet.
splice pad,
You're not gonna be quiet.
when you got the 99 splice pad,
Yeah.
you use that Liberty District to get us out there to vote. So if it's some money left for the Liberty District, pay the champion out of that. They use use
Well,
the.
no, did you hear what I said?
Well, you ain't gonna argue. I ain't gonna argue.
There's, you know, we need a consultant.
Yeah.
And so you got 950. I think we could, but I'm just saying,
$60,000 and pay us a champion, and then let them try to figure out how to raise some money.
that's our vision. You got that on camera? We hear you. We got you on camera. Somewhere else.
Cut it
Come
off
on.
now.
Yes, sir.
How do you say you were a restaurant around here?
Say that again now.
I heard that you want a restaurants around here.
Yes.
It's always a parking issue when it comes to the restaurant. How are you gonna resolve that?
Well, you heard me, well, first of all, we talked about TAD and infrastructure stuff, and infrastructure potential as a result of growth in the digest from TAD. You know, I think if things start to happen in the Liberty District, we're gonna have to provide for parking. And you know, there is no way you can do the kind of activity that we're talking about and not provide for parking. We didn't think we would have one parking garage in Uptown, but we got River Center parking garage. And then we got the Bay Avenue parking garage. And then we got the CSU Front Avenue, thank you, parking. So we didn't see that back then. So, but it happened as growth and development, CSU campus, all these things start to happen. When that happens in the Liberty District, and that's when, not if, we will make sure that, we gotta make sure that we take care of that situation. I can't tell you what it's gonna be today, but it will happen.
If you're the first restaurant to come in there, due to the parking issues, how are you gonna bring the next one?
Well, and I don't know where that would be, but, you know, you heard them show you that the city owns property. You know, when the 80 parking spaces across from Friendship Baptist Church, that's not their parking, that's city parking. And then up by the chamber, directly across from the chamber, that nice building that sits over there, the city owns that parking except for a few spaces. So we do what we've got to do to make sure we take care of the growth and the development. And so I don't want to say trust me, but I would not be concerned about that at this moment. I think when these things happen, that will happen.
I have tried in that matter with the restaurant, now that
Well, let me just,
last year.
now, let me just say, if you open a restaurant today, you're responsible for your parking. But when you see growth and development like what you've seen on Broad and Uptown, you know, we have on-street parking and we have parking garage. I think when you got that kind of growth, then the city has a responsibility to help ease the flow and make sure business works for you and everybody else. But if you just go down there right now, you know, when you go and get your building permit and all that, you're gonna have to, they'll have so many parking spaces. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. I would just ask if you could, at least for my knowledge, a copy of the original master plan, I'm sure. Sure. And then the evolution.
It's on the planning website, but we can get it to you.
Yeah, if you can just get it to me.
Yeah.
And then the evolution up until this point, because I know a few years ago, wasn't there some recommended tweaking to that master plan back when the whole fighting and
There
development?
wasn't no
issue-
fight.
I remember I vaguely remember that there were some edits that went to the master plan.
Differences in opinions.
Thank you.
So could we get the original master plan and then
Well, if we
recommended-
tweaked it at any point, we can give them the original tweak, whatever. We can get whatever.
The evolution of that master plan.
Yeah.
I was going to be fine.
Okay.
But I'm gonna say this about the parking, I promise you that. There was a parking garage with the 4-leaf clover. There was a parking garage.
Okay.
And it was for the 4-leaf clover, for the restaurants, for the Hispanics, the African, the European, and the Indians. And that was a garage. It was already planned for in that master plan. And now that you got a TAD, that justifies building a garage under the TAD.
Well, once you got growth,
You're gonna get growth if you
I
put
know
the
you're gonna
restaurant
get
down
growth.
there.
I know. That's why I was telling him. Yes, ma'am.
Land
You-
Liberty District. Land, does it fit into there?
Oh, Lance, well, they're in the Liberty District, and we
I
hope
know,
they'll
but what I'm
continue
talking
to.
about, they parking their trailers on the side of the road. They're not using their property, they're using the city property, so they can continue to do that?
Well, let me just say, when we do what we're talking about doing, then we are going to have to look at other options for them. We want to be business friendly, but you're right, if they're parking on city streets and so forth, right now, because there's nothing going on, it's, you know, but when we get all this stuff going that we're talking about, we'll have to, we'll have to work on that. Yes. Others. And this is not, again, the final meeting. This is the start of the conversation, the start of looking at your thoughts about vision, the start of looking at whether you think we should tweak or start anew. And so, yeah, I think the next step is going to be that we're going to have to appoint a committee to start moving this stuff forward. Because, you know, it's time to move it forward. It's been, the Liberty District has been sitting there too long with no activity. And I want it, I've said before, in my lifetime, and at least, and if it doesn't all materialize in my lifetime, at least it's a start for our children and grandchildren. You know, there's just no way the Liberty District should look like it looks today and be sandwiched between Midtown and Uptown and as close to Uptown as it really is. We can do better. We can do better. So, any final vision, thoughts, questions, comments? Because we're not going to keep you too long, and then we'll announce another meeting. Now, when we announce this meeting, it's been in the newspaper twice. It's on the variable message board that's out on the street down here on Veterans. We sent it to all the churches in the area. We've put it on Facebook. We've done all of what we know to do. And so we'll have another meeting. And so we're going to publicize it in that same way. We've announced it at City Council. I announced it today at City Council. And so bring your friends and let's have a conversation. And as I said, we got to be as close to being on one accord as we can. We got to be together if we're really going to move it. Otherwise, we're going to get bogged down. We need to move it forward. Councilor Huff.
If you would, please keep it at least a couple of days after the holiday. Yes, people still traveling.
Okay.
I just think that.
Yeah, we can do that. We can do that.
Since you have our email addresses, will you contact us about
Yeah.
it?
Yes.
Please make sure you've signed in, give us your email address, so we can contact you again in the near future, please. If you haven't done so, please do so before you leave.
And remember, we've got some cards back there for comments. You can email our planning division or email it to me and I'll forward it to them and they can capture all of your vision, thoughts, your questions, your comments. And then, yeah, I hope we're together on, I heard Reverend Chester and I heard Nadine talk about the kind of committee that we need to pull together with, but make sure that, you know, whatever it is, it protects the heritage, the flavor, whatever you said.
Being intentional.
Being intentional. Yes, sir. I got you.
Can you make sure the next meeting, for those that don't get to see the original plan, that we have the original plan here? Like
Yes, we will.
33 pages.
Original plan, and then have, you know, the one that you have now, and then the blank one that's the original, just alternate.
Yeah, we'll do that.
That way we can start.
And then, too, you know, when we do form the committee, you know, the committee, of course, it'll be open to the public and whoever wants to come. And you can still submit comments to the committee. It'll be chaired not by me and not by staff, but by some citizen, or co-chaired by citizens, much like City Village was co-chair or is being co-chaired by citizen representatives. And we have to remember that whatever we come up with is subject to the approval of the mayor and council. So we still got all that involved, and we have to be presented, just like City Village had to be presented to council. And they'll get constant updates, and, but it needs to be a committee that,
That's right. That's it.
you've been sitting in my meetings.
He a preacher, they know about that.
You've been sitting in my meetings. I tell them, it has to be a committee, it's gotta be all-inclusive, but it has to be people, you gotta have some people on there that can raise money. You just got, look at Uptown Board, just go in, because I've done this. Go and look at who's on Uptown Board, who's on Midtown Board, who's on the River Center Board. I said this to Shay. Who's on the River Center Board. Look at who's on the boards. Look at who's on City Village.
We want
Committee.
Indians working with us.
So I mean, you cannot ignore those things.
That we were.
Right? So look at the makeup of other boards, and it may tell you kind of, you know, how you want to structure this board. But then when the committee and all and everything, and you do this, and if you got money, then you can hire Nadine the champion.
No.
No, not you, but I said you can hire a champion, and because they are able to sustain that champion and give that champion guidance and direction, and that person is out there working every single day, you know, for the Liberty District, every single day. You know, as city manager, dealing with Richard Bishop and now Ross Horner, and dealing with Ann King, and you know, I mean, they're always in your ear. Every chance they get, you know, they're in your ear. You know, what you see going on the 13th Street Bridge, it didn't happen because staff wanted it. I mean, you know, it's in Midtown.
They jacked up the transportation, Department of Transportation, but she ain't getting our money for
You know, but my point is, they're watching everything, and if the city goes to try and do something, Reverend Chester, you know, when we're going to do a project in Midtown or in Uptown, they are all over us. I mean, they're right in it, because they're champions, because they're protecting their interests. That's what we got to have for the Liberty District. Every single day, they got to work. But it's going to take having someone on payroll to get that done. And so in order to have a payroll, you got to raise some money. You got to raise some money. Not that $950,000 that Nadine was looking at.
No, 100. I'm finna go tell her right now, keep $100,000.
Okay, with that, any final questions or comments? We will meet again. Make sure you sign in. We've got your information. And we are going to work together to make this happen. We got to be together. If we agree on that.
I think together may be a stretch, but focus is a better word.
Okay, Reverend, focused. We got to be focused and work together.
Yes.
Okay, Councilor Thomas, you have any comments? Councilor Huff, anything? Thank you for coming, and you'll hear from us soon. Reverend Chester, thank you for coming.